It is wrong to think that love comes from long companionship and persevering courtship. Love is the offspring of spiritual affinity, and unless that affinity is created in a moment, it will not be created for years or even generations. Every time we make the decision to love someone, we open ourselves to great suffering, because those we most love cause us not only great joy, but also great pain. The greatest pain comes from leaving. When the child leaves home, when the husband or wife leaves for a long period of time, or for good, when the beloved friend departs to another country or dies, the pain of the leaving can tear us apart. Still, if we want to avoid the suffering of leaving, we will never experience the joy of loving. And love is stronger than fear, life stronger than death, hope stronger than despair. We have to trust that the risk of loving is always worth taking. Love is a trap. When it appears, we see only its light, not its shadows. We stood there, looking at each other, saying nothing. But it was the kind of nothing that meant everything. In his eyes, there was no trace of what had happened between us earlier, and I could feel something inside me break. So that was that. We were finally over. I looked at him, and I felt so sad because this thought occurred to me. I will never look at you the same way again. I'll never be that girl again. The girl who comes running back every time you push her away. The girl who loves you anyway. I couldn't even be mad at him because this was who he was. This was who he'd always been. He'd never lied about that. He gave, and then he took away. I felt it in the pit of my stomach, the familiar ache, that lost, regretful feeling only he could give me. I never wanted to feel it again. Never, ever. Maybe this was why I came, so I could really know, so I could say goodbye. I looked at him, and I thought, if I was very brave or very honest, I would tell him. I would say it, so he would know it, and I would know it, and I could never take it back. But I wasn't that brave or honest, so all I did was look at him, and I think he knew anyway. I release you. I evict you from my heart, because if I don't do it now, I never will. I was the one to look away first.
Through my love for you, I want to express my love for the whole cosmos, the whole of humanity, and all beings. By living with you, I want to learn to love everyone and all species. If I succeed in loving you, I will be able to love everyone and all species on Earth. This is the real message of love. The simple path silence is prayer. Prayer is faith. Faith is love. Love is service. Fruit of service is peace. There can be no deep disappointment where there is not deep love. After all, damn it, what does being in love mean if you can't trust a person? Isn't it funny? I'm enjoying my hatred so much more than I ever enjoyed love. Love is temperamental, tiring. It makes demands. Love uses you, changes its mind. But hatred, now, that's something you can use. Sculpt, wield. It's hard or soft, however you need it. Love humiliates you, but hatred cradles you. Love is the answer. God is the cure. Memory is a funny thing. When I was in the scene, I hardly paid it any mind. I never stopped to think of it as something that would make a lasting impression. Certainly never imagined that 18 years later, I would recall it in such detail. I didn't give a damn about the scenery that day. I was thinking about myself. I was thinking about the beautiful girl walking next to me. I was thinking about the two of us together, and then about myself again. It was the age, that time of life when every sight, every feeling, every thought came back like a boomerang to me. And worse, I was in love. Love with complications. The scenery was the last thing on my mind. I would love to say that yo make muik in the knees butto, be quite upfront and completely. My body forget it, has ni said all. You are beautiful like demolition. Just the thought of you draws my knuckles white. I don't need a god. I have you and your beautiful mouth, your hands holding onto me, the nails leaving unfelt wounds, your hot breath on my neck, the taste of your saliva. The darkness is ours. The nights belong to us. Everything we do is secret. Nothing we do will ever be understood. We will be feared and kept well away from it. Will be the stuff of legend, endless discussion and limitless inspiration for the brave of heart. It's you and me in this room, on this floor, beyond life, beyond morality. We are gleaming animals painted in moonlit sweat glow. Looking over the Ethan's bowed head, amidst the tangled forest of wilderness littered with the bodies of men dead and dying, Victor saw the serene image of his mother. She smiled at her son, her unbound black hair blowing wildly in the breeze. She reached a hand out towards him, and this time, he went with her. Absence is to love what wind is to fire. It extinguishes the small, it inflames the great. Now you're here, and everything we touch explodes, bursts into bloom or burns to ash. History atomizes and negates itself with our every shared breath. I need you, like life needs life. I want you bad like a natural disaster. You are all I see. You are the only one I want to know. Double quotes, ... double quotes. Better to have loved and lost bullshit. Don't show me paradise and then burn it down. Looking over the Ethan's bowed head, amidst the tangled forest of wilderness littered with the bodies of men dead and dying, Victor saw the serene image of his mother. She smiled at her son, her unbound black hair blowing wildly in the breeze. She reached a hand out towards him, and this time, he went with her. Absence is to love what wind is to fire. It extinguishes the small, it inflames the great. For me, trees have always been the most penetrating creatures. I revere them when they live in tribes and families, in forests and groves, and even more, I revere them when they stand alone. They are like lonely persons, not like hermits who have stolen away out of some weakness, but like great, solitary men, like Beethoven and Nietzsche. In their highest boughs, the world rustles, their roots rest in infinity, but they do not lose themselves there. They struggle with all the force of their lives for one thing only, to fulfill themselves according to their own laws, to build up their own form, to represent themselves. Nothing is holier, nothing is more exemplary than a beautiful, strong tree. When a tree is cut down and reveals its naked death wound to the sun, one can read its whole history in the luminous, inscribed disk of its trunk, in the rings of its years, its scars, all the struggle, all the suffering, all the sickness, all the happiness and prosperity stand truly written. The narrow years and the luxurious years, The attacks withstood, the storms endured. And every young farm boy knows that the hardest and noblest wood has the narrowest rings. That high on the mountains and in continuing danger, the most indestructible, the strongest, the ideal trees grow. Trees are sanctuaries. Whoever knows how to speak to them, whoever knows how to listen to them, can learn the truth. They do not preach learning and precepts. They preach, undeterred by particulars. The ancient law of life, a tree says, a kernel is hidden in me, a spark, a thought. I am life from eternal life. The attempt and the risk that the Eternal Mother took with me is unique. Unique the form and veins of my skin. Unique the smallest play of leaves in my branches, and the smallest scar on my bark. I was made to form and reveal the eternal in my smallest special detail. A tree says, my strength is trust. I know nothing about my fathers. I know nothing about the 1,000 children that every year spring out of me. I live out the secret of my seed to the very end, and I care for nothing else. I trust that God is in me. I trust that my labor is holy. Out of this trust I live. When we are stricken and cannot bear our lives any longer, then a tree has something to say to us. Be still, look at me. Life is not easy. Life is not difficult. Those are childish thoughts. Let God speak within you, and your thoughts will grow silent. You are anxious because your path leads away from mother and home. But every step and every day lead you back again to the mother. Home is neither here nor there. Home is within you, or home is nowhere at all. A longing to wander tears my heart when I hear trees rustling in the wind at evening. If one listens to them silently for a long time, this longing reveals its kernel, its meaning. It is not so much a matter of escaping from one's suffering, though it may seem to be so. It is a longing for home, for a memory of the mother, for new metaphors for life. It leads home. Every path leads homeward. Every step is birth. Every step is death. Every grave is mother. So the tree rustles in the evening. When we stand uneasy before our own childish thoughts, trees have long thoughts, long breathing, and restful, just as they have longer lives than ours. They are wiser than we are, as long as we do not listen to them. But when we have learned how to listen to trees, then the brevity and the quickness and the childlike hastiness of our thoughts achieve an incomparable joy. Whoever has learned how to listen to trees no longer wants to be a tree. He wants to be nothing except what he is. That is home. That is happiness. The greatest disease in the West today is not TB or leprosy. It is being unwanted, unloved, and uncared for. We can cure physical diseases with medicine, but the only cure for loneliness, despair, and hopelessness is love. There are many in the world who are dying for a piece of bread, but there are many more dying for a little love. The poverty in the West is a different kind of poverty. It is not only a poverty of loneliness, but also of spirituality. There's a hunger for love, as there is a hunger for God. I believe in God, but not as one thing, not as an old man in the sky. I believe that what people call God is something in all of us. I believe that what Jesus and Mohammed and Buddha and all the rest said was right. It's just that the translations have gone wrong. The possession of knowledge does not kill the sense of wonder and mystery. There is always more mystery.